We finished the introduction, 5 classes, and then last session, we started with the first chapter. How many verses are there in the first chapter? Who knows? Each chapter has different number of verses. The second chapter and the 18th chapter have the maximum number of verses, so we'll take more time for that. So we started with the first chapter, and in the first chapter again we actually will let's just say the prayers. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshata Harine Jai Srila Prabhupada पंचतत्व की जय जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय. So the first chapter's name is Observing the Armies on the Battlefield of Kurukshetra. Prabhupada chose this title very carefully, and I'll tell you the meaning of this title later. But just know that the chapter name is Observing the Armies. If you see Gita by some other publication, the chapters are named differently. But Prabhupada chose this name, Observing the Armies, for a reason. So there are 46 verses in the first chapter, and we are going section wise. We are not going verse by verse, word by word, because that will take a whole lot of time. There are 700 verses, and it will take us many years. We don't want to delay that much because some of you may go here and there, and then it will. So I'm trying to squeeze it all at least in 1 year. So we'll go section wise. So in the first chapter, there are 46 verses, and they have put it into two sections mainly. The first half, verse 1 to 27, is the first section, and verse 28 to 46 is the second section. The first section basically has again 3 subsections. The first subsection we did last time, verse 1 to 11. What happens in verse 1 to 11? The first verse is important, where King Dhritarashtra, the blind King Dhritarashtra, who's sitting in his palace, is asking his secretary Sanjay what happened in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Now that question seems a bit odd, because obviously he would know what will happen in a battlefield. There will be a battle. No, they're not going to joke and laugh. It's going to be a very, very decisive, very, very big battle where the whole world, the whole earth was involved, either on this side or that side. So Dhritarashtra is asking Secretary Sanjay what happened on the battlefield, and Sanjay, who was blessed with a divine vision, Sanjay sitting in the palace, but he can see miles away what's happening in the battlefield because he was blessed with a divine vision, Divya Drishti. So Sanjay is narrating the whole battle. So Sanjay says, my dear king, your son Duryodhan has gone to his teacher Dronacharya, and he's talking to him. So this is what happens in the first 11 verses. Duryodhan goes to his teacher Dronacharya, and Duryodhan, we discussed last time, he's a clever diplomat. He can pull the strings and make the right moves and all that. He's not very straightforward, so he's very diplomatic. So his intention is two. One, he wants to instigate his team members, his side. When there's a battle, you can't go to this is a life and death battle. You go in the morning to the battlefield, you don't know whether you'll come back. You either die or you come back. That's it. It's a life and death battle. So when you are in that battle, you have to be provoked to some extent. If you see the person in front of you, you need to really hate that person enough to kill him, right? So Duryodhan is trying to provoke his people. so that they get fired up, so that they will be ready to kill. So Duryodhan goes to Dronacharya, who he is the senior most after Bhishma. Dronacharya, and he tries to push the buttons, provoke Dronacharya, and he says, look across that battle. You know who is in front? Uh, Drupada Putra. Drupada is Dronacharya's sworn enemy. Dronacharya's most biggest enemy was Drupada, and Drupada's son Drishtadyumna was on the opposite side leading the Pandava army. So Dronacharya is trying to provoke, Duryodhana is trying to provoke Dronacharya, so he gets fired up. So he says, Drupada's putra, whom you taught all the secrets of the fighting, he is there, and so he's trying to provoke. So the first 5 verses, Duryodhana is praising the enemy, so that these people will, feel that okay, we have to make a really strong fight. And then he realizes maybe I'm praising them too much. So let them not lose their morale. Let them not lose their confidence. So he again turns and he says, well, these people are all great warriors, but hang on, our side is also great. Look at look at yourself. He tells Dronacharya, look at yourself, you are a great warrior. And then look at Bhishma. In the side of Kauravas, the most powerful warrior was Bhishma. Nobody could ever defeat Bhishma because he had Ichha Mrityu. He can decide when he wants to die. He had that boon. So basically, if you are fighting Bhishma, you can fight for 1,000,000 years and he is not going to die because it's in his hand. So basically, it's like an impossible thing. So Bhishma is on Duryodhana's side, so he had full confidence. As long as Bhishma is alive, we will never be defeated. So he says, okay, Bhishma is there, but you all should protect him. So that is where we stopped last time, which is verse number 11. And yeah, so moving on. So this much you understood, like verse 1 to 11 is Duryodhana's monologue. He is talking. At that point, and then the next verse number 12 to 20, Vyasadev, Veda Vyas, who wrote this, he was dropping little hint. When you read a story or when you see a movie, you don't really have to go till the end to know what's going to happen. You get a hang of it. Okay, what's going to happen? This guy is a bad guy. This is a villain. This is a hero. You get some idea. So Vyasadev in Gita, he's put a little hint what's going to happen. So verse 12 to 20, if you're careful, if you read carefully, you will get little hint of what's going to happen. And verse 21 to 27, Lord Krishna is shown as Bhaktavatsala. Bhaktavatsala means one who will do anything for the Bhakta. The one who will do anything for the devotees. Krishna will become the servant of the devotees because he loves his devotees so much. So verse number 21 to 27, we see Krishna as a Bhaktavatsala. So verse number 12. Okay, so till verse number 11, Duryodhana is talking, and suddenly verse number 12, you hear the blowing of the conch shell. Bhishma Dev, who is the commander of the Duryodhana's army, suddenly starts blowing his conch shell. Blowing of the conch shell means the war has begun. Once the conch shell is blown by the army commander, that means the war has begun. Now there is no turning back. So Acharyas tell us, why did Bhishma blow the conch shell? Everything there is a lot of explanation. If we start explaining it, it will take a long time. But briefly, Bhishma, a few reasons. Bhishma is a warrior. He's a man of action. He's not a man of words. And Duryodhana is talking. 10 verses is given for Duryodhana's talks. So maybe Bhishma Dev got impatient. Like battlefield is not a place for talking; it's a place for action. So perhaps Bhishma Dev wanted the action. Now there's no point in talking. That's one reason why he blew the conch shell. The second reason Acharya says that Duryodhan, he has a lot more bigger army than Pandavas. Pandavas have 7 Akshauni. Akshauni is like a lot of numbers, like millions of soldiers and elephants and all that. Pandavas have 7 Akshauni and Duryodhana has 13 Akshauni, much bigger, almost double you can say, like a lot more bigger army. But Duryodhana was not expecting Pandavas even 7 Akshauni because he thought they are not really up to, capable of fighting him. But when he went to the battlefield and he saw them with the 7 Akshauni, he got a little shock. He was not expecting that. So Duryodhana outwardly he was acting confident, but inwardly he was a bit fearful. And Bhishma Dev could understand that his grandson is feeling fearful. So in order to encourage his grandson, Duryodhan, Bhishma Dev blew the conch shell and it says, then Bhishma, the great valiant grandsire of the Kuru dynasty, the grandfather of the fighters, blew his conch shell very loudly, making a sound like a roar of a lion, giving Duryodhana joy. Why would he give Duryodhana joy? Because he felt maybe he's feeling afraid. He's feeling little underconfident. So Bhishma Dev blew the conch shell. And last, one interesting reason I read one of the acharyas speak about this. In the temple when the puja starts, what happens when in the temple the aarti starts? What's the first thing that happens? They blow the conch, right? So blowing of the conch shell means the puja is about to begin. Now Bhishma Dev is a warrior. He is not going to do puja with flowers. He does puja with arrows. That is his rasa, virya ras. So if a girl is doing puja, obviously they'll do flowers and all that. But Bhishma Dev is the greatest warrior, and he's going to begin the puja of Krishna, who is there, with arrows. And it is said that Bhishma Dev did shoot a lot of arrows on Krishna, who was there in front, as Arjuna's charioteer. And each time the arrows hit Krishna, he was overjoyed. He loved it. Bhishma was a great devotee of Krishna. And when the devotee is offering something to Krishna, Krishna enjoys it. Just when you give flower to Krishna, Krishna accepts it and enjoys it. Similarly, when Bhishma Dev shoots arrow at Krishna and blood comes, Krishna enjoys it. Whatever the devotee is giving, Krishna accepts and enjoys it. So one interpretation is that Bhishma Dev is starting Krishna's puja by blowing the shank. So verse 12. Tasya sanjanayan harsham kuru vruddha pitamaha Simhanadam vinadyochai shankham dadmau pratapavan. Tata shankhascha bheryascha panavana khagomukha Sahasaivabhyahanyanta sashabdhastumulo bhavat. After that, the conch shells, drums, bugles, trumpets, horns were all suddenly sounded, and the combined sound was tumultuous. Just note, in Sanskrit, there's a word tumulo bhavat, and in English it says tumultuous. It has come from the Sanskrit tumulo, that word. I'm not a Sanskrit person, but I can tell that there are a lot of English words that have come from Sanskrit. So this tumultuous word also comes from tumulo. So when the war's about to begin, at those times, there was a different music party. Like there's like a lot of drummers, lot of horns, and they are stationed there. Their job is to do that, to announce the beginning of the war. So as soon as Bhishma blows a conch shell, all the music, music, the drums and everything starts. And that combined sound was tumultuous. Now, this again, I heard an Acharya speak about this. When in a movie, when you go for a movie, especially Bollywood movie, there is a back, the movie starts and there is a setting. And when the hero makes an entry, it's a special entry. Sometimes the camera, shows the feet and then slowly goes up like that. Sometimes the hero comes in, and not nowadays, but in my time, the hero comes in a horse and you see the horse and then the camera slowly pans to the top, and or he comes in a bike and there's a drama. So here Vyasadev, now our hero is coming. So the Vyasadev has, started with the white horses. Arjuna's Ratha, Arjuna's chariot had these white horses. So first Vyasadev talks about the horses, and then the slowly camera goes up, and then we see Lord Krishna and Arjuna. On the other side, both Lord Krishna and Arjuna stationed on a great white chariot drawn by white horses sounded their transcendental conch shells. You see, this is a hint by Vyasadeva. He didn't describe Bhishma's conch transcendental. He says, Lord Krishna and Arjuna sounded their transcendental conch shells. That's a hint. Tata shveter hayir yukte mahati syandane stitau madava pandavas chaiva divya shankau pradatmatau. Divya shankha. That's one hint. Now we know about the names of their shankha. Lord Krishna blew his conch shell called Panchajanya. Arjuna blew his Devadatta, and Bhima, the voracious eater and performer of Herculean tasks, blew his terrific conch shell called Poundra. Panchajanyam Rishikesho Devadattam Dhananjaya Poundram Dadmo Mahashankam Bhima Karma Vrakodara. Bhima is called Vrakodara, meaning Borisha. He used to eat a lot because he needed the strength. He was very strong. So Lord Krishna's conch shell is Panchajanya. Arjuna's shank is called Devadatta, and they blew their conch shells. Now we hear about the rest of the people's shank, what it's called. Ananta Vijayam Raja Kunti Putro Yudhishthira Nakula Sahadevascha Sughosho Mani Pushpakau Kashyascha Parameshvasa Shikhandi Cha Maharatha Drishtatyumno Viratascha Satyakischa Parajita Drupado Draupadeyascha Sarvasha Prithvipate Saubhadrascha Mahabahu Shankhan Dadmo Prathak Prathak. King Yudhishthira, the son of Kunti, blew his conch shell Ananta Vijaya. Nakula and Sahadeva blew Saghosha and Manipushpakau. The great archer, the king of Kashi, the great fighter Shikhandi, Drishtadyumna, Virata, and the unconquerable Satyaki, Drupada, sons of Draupadi, and others, O king, such as the mighty armed son of Shubhadra, all blew their respective conch shells. Who is a mighty armed son of Shubhadra? Yes? Yes. Subhadra Mata had only one son. Unfortunately, he died in the battle, Abhimanyu. So the mighty armed son of Subhadra is Abhimanyu. And the sons of Draupadi, they also perished in the war. So they all blew their conch shells. The blowing of these different conch shells became uproarious, vibrating both in the sky and on earth, and it shattered the hearts of the sons of Dhritarashtra. That is hint number 2. When Bhishma blew the conch shell, did the Pandavas' heart break? No. We didn't hear that. It is not mentioned here. But when the Pandavas blew their conch shell, the sons of Dhritarashtra's heart was shattered. Can you guess why? because Krishna was on the side of Pandavas. So obviously, it's common sense. Where Krishna is there, that side has to be victorious. So the transcendental counsel of Krishna shattered the heart of, the evil people. And then verse number 20. At that time, Arjuna, the son of Pandu, seated on the chariot, bearing the flag marked with Hanuman, took up his bow and prepared to shoot his arrows. O king, after looking at the sons of Dhritarashtra drawn in military array, Arjuna spoke to Lord Krishna these words. अथ व्यवस्थितान् दृष्ट्वा धार्तराष्ट्रान् कपिध्वजः प्रवर्ते शस्त्रसम्पाते धनुरुद्यम्य पाण्डवा ऋषिकेशं तदा वाक्यम् इदम् आह महीपते. Kapidhwaja. Okay, Arjuna is called Kapidhwaja. So as we go through Gita, we find that Krishna is called by different names in different verses. And there is a meaning for that. Why sometimes Krishna is called Madhava, sometimes Krishna is called Keshava, sometimes Krishna is called Achyuta, different names, and that has a meaning. Arjuna also is called by different names. Now here he is called a Kapidhwaja. Why? Because now there's a story, I don't know if you have time for that. Bhima was very strong, like 10,000 elephants. He was proud of his strength. So Bhima is Vayuputra. Kunti Maharani had Bhima when she invoked the Vayudeva. And Vayu is very strong. The wind is very strong. And Bhima is the son of wind god, Vayudev. So Bhima was very powerful and he was a little proud also. Hanumanji is also Vayuputra. Hanumanji is Vayuputra. So Bhima and Hanumanji are brothers. So Hanumanji is most humble. He is known for being extremely humble. But his brother was a little proud of his strength. So once what happened, Bhima had to go somewhere to collect something. He was going and on his path there was an old monkey, very old monkey. He was lying on the path, a small monkey. And Bhima said, hey, just get out of my way. He said it rudely. So the monkey looked and said, look, I'm so old, I can barely move. And the monkey had a tail and the tail was crossing Bhima's path. So monkey said, can you just put my tail aside and you go? I can't get up and move, I'm so old. So Bhima looked at monkey with, disdain, disrespect, and he tried to pick his tail and move it away. But he tried to pick the tail, he couldn't move it. It was so heavy. And Bhima was like 10,000 elephants strong, and he couldn't pick the tail of this old monkey. He tried and tried and tried, and he started sweating, and he could not lift the tail. So Bhima was intelligent. He knew something wrong here. This is not an ordinary monkey, So he said, please, whoever you are, please give me your darshan and tell me who you are. So that monkey became transformed into Hanumanji. So Hanumanji said, I wanted to meet you. You are my brother. We both are Vayuputra. So then Bhima apologized and, everything was okay. Then Hanumanji said, you're going to have a great war now, a big Kurukshetra war, Mahabharata war is going to happen. I'll be there with you. Don't worry. You'll be winning the war. Why? Because Krishna is with you, And Hanumanji is Ramji's biggest devotee, and Krishna and Ram are same. So he says, Krishna is with you, so definitely the victory will be yours. I'll be there with you. I'll be in the same chariot as Arjuna. Okay? So, Hanumanji blessed Arjun by being on his flag. So Arjuna's flag has Hanumanji's picture on it. Therefore, Arjuna is called Kapidhwaja. Kapi means, Kapi stands for monkey or it stands for Hanumanji. So Hanumanji is on the flag of Arjuna. And here Lord Krishna is called Rishikesha. I told you every verse Krishna is called by a different name. So here in this verse, Rishikesham tada vakyam idamaha mahipate. So Rishikesha means the one who controls the senses. We came across this word in one of this thing, right? So Krishna is the owner of our sense organs. And therefore Krishna knows pretty well what is going to happen, what Arjuna is going to say next. Okay, verse 12 to 20, Vyasadev gives us certain signs of victory of Pandavas. Number one, first sign. Somebody wants to come? Can come. The first sign of victory is obviously Krishna's presence. Where Krishna is there, that side will be victorious. Number two, goddess of fortune. Now war means what? When there's a war means what? There are two sides of fighting. One side will be victorious and the other side will not be victorious. And the side which is going to be victorious will get all the wealth. They will get all the kingdom and all the wealth. In other words, they will be fortunate. In other words, the goddess of fortune, who is Lakshmi. Lakshmi is the goddess of fortune. Wherever Lakshmi goes, that place will be very wealthy. So the side where, and Lakshmi is who? Lakshmi is the wife of Narayan, right? And wife will be where there is husband. In fact, this is interesting, The scholar, the acharyas say that you should never worship Lakshmi ji alone. That is foolishness. We see many people doing Lakshmi puja, worshipping Lakshmi, just a picture of Lakshmi. That's foolishness, because Lakshmi ji by nature is called Chanchala. She's very, always on the move. She doesn't stay at one place, Chanchal. And she stays. If her husband is there, she'll stay. We married women, if the husband, they are always eager to go back and serve the husband. They don't stay without the husband. So Lakshmi ji, if Narayan is there, Lakshmi ji will stay. So you should never do Lakshmi puja alone. You should always do Lakshmi Narayan puja. But then she will stay. Lakshmi stays means the wealth will be there. Otherwise the wealth will go. So goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, wherever Lord is present, the goddess of fortune is also there. So she never lives without her husband. So because Krishna is on the side of Pandavas, obviously Lakshmi is also there, which means that they will be fortunate. The third hint of the victory of Pandavas is the Kurukshetra. Now Kurukshetra, as I said once, it's a real place in Haryana, I think, in the northern India. That place has been, for many years, people used to do puja there. It's a place of yajna. A lot of auspicious things are done there because that place has a special potency power. So that place has been chosen for this battle. So that is why Dhritarashtra was also fearful and Duryodhana was fearful, because in an auspicious place, nothing inauspicious will happen. And the Pandavas were good people, everybody knew that, and Duryodhana and his side was following adharma. So Kurukshetra place also gives an indication that the Pandavas were to win. Hanumanji and Arjuna's flag. When Lord Rama was doing the battle, Hanumanji helped Lord Rama. So now also Hanumanji is there to help Arjun as a picture on the flag. And then Vyasadev is talking about these conch shells, right? Shankh. Shankh is a symbol of Vishnu. Shankh Chakra, Gada Padma. 4 symbols Vishnu has. One is Shankha. And so we hear all these Shankha, names of the Shankha, which is an indication that the victory was on Pandava's side. And finally, the 6th, there are 9 hint of Pandava's victory. The 6th hint is that I said Divya Shankho, transcendental conscience. So Krishna and Arjuna's conscience is mentioned as Divya. That's again, and then Vyasadev says that Bhishma blew his conch shell to pacify Duryodhana. Right? So that's again a hint. Arjuna's chariot was given by Agni Dev. There's a story, there was a Khanda one, and it's a different story, but Agni Dev was happy with Arjuna and he gifted him a chariot. And when he gifted the chariot, Agni Dev said that this chariot, if you use the chariot, you'll be always victorious. So he had the blessing. And finally, when Krishna and Pandavas blew their conch shell, the hearts of the Kauravas were shattered. So these are the hint. There's no heartbreaking on the side of Pandavas. Even the Kauravas blew their shankar, nobody was, heartbroken because the Pandavas had their confidence in Krishna. You know that story when both Duryodhana and Arjun went to ask Krishna for help, right? Krishna said, one person can have my Narayani army, which is a big army, and one person can have me. I will not touch any weapon, I'll just be there. So Duryodhana chose the army because he was thinking along material terms. Arjuna chose Krishna. And so they had full confidence in Krishna. In fact, I just remembered. Remember in the first verses, when Duryodhana looked at the Pandava side, remember in the first 5 verses he was praising them to provoke Dronacharya. Did he mention Krishna? He didn't even mention Krishna. He mentioned Bhima, Arjuna, Drupada, and Drishtadyumna. He didn't even mention Krishna. Krishna was there, but in Duryodhana's drishti, in his drishti, he didn't exist because he is not fighting, so he's just a charioteer. He didn't even mention Krishna. He didn't think that was important. But that was the most important thing which made Pandavas victorious. Okay, this as we progress now in each chapter, there are a lot of practical application of Gita, and I want to really put a stress on that because you guys, you have your practical life, you have your studies and your job and this. So the Gita, we are not going to just read Gita for the sake of reading Gita. I want it to have a practical application in your life because Bhagavad Gita is a manual of life. It's not something, it's okay, you can read it and keep it, but most important is you have to implement in your life. So this lesson so far, what gives the practical application is that the one who takes shelter of Supreme Lord has nothing to fear, even in the midst of greatest calamity. The Pandavas knew that they were outnumbered. There were 7 Akshauni and there was 13, and they knew it. They knew that Bhishma had Ichha Mrityu. They knew that this person will never die. If he doesn't want to die, this war will go on. They knew that. So many odds were against them. But they were not shattered. They had full confidence in Krishna. So that is a faith. In Christianity they say faith can move mountains. You have faith in God, it will take you over most difficult situations. I want to mention a personal story here. It's a very it's close to my heart. Now I was in Australia for some time, and I was doing a course, and I didn't have a car. When you're in US or Australia, if you have a car, you are pretty safe. But I didn't have a car. I used to rely on the public transport. I used to go by the train or bus. So, and I used to plan my day so that I can reach home before it's dark. This was about when I was younger. So I used to plan my day, and I don't like being outside in a strange place when it's dark. It's scary. So I used to plan my day so that I can be home by 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock. And there, there's a station, and then there are houses, and then, my flat was, there's like about around 1 kilometer, or from the station to my house was like around 1 kilometer. So one particular day, the class which I had to take got postponed. It was supposed to be in the afternoon, they put it in the evening. And that class was very important for me because I had to do it, otherwise I would not, get the degree kind of thing. And I was so scared now what I'll do, because I knew that roads are deserted, from the station. If you have to walk to the house, it's like 1 kilometer, the roads are deserted, anything can happen, it's scary. So my class got postponed and I had to take the class, and I came home and I reached my station and it was like dark, 7:30 or something, and I had to walk back home. At that point, I didn't know what to do, and it was very scary. And when I'm scared or when I feel threatened, I pray to Lord Narsimha. You all should also. Lord Narsimha Dev is meant for protection. He's so merciful that if you are in a danger, if you feel your life is in danger or any kind of fear, you should pray to Lord Narsimha and He'll protect you. So at that point now I got out at the station, I had to go walk to my house. The roads were deserted, strange place, strange country, and I was alone. I had no other option. I had no other option. I don't have a gun or anything, no, nothing was said. Even I prayed to Lord Narasimha, please help me, please make sure that I go reach my home without any problem. And I had this mantra which I kept as I was walking. I kept chanting that mantra again and again and again, and I reached home safely. And I really thank Narasimha. And actually, a few months later, actually one girl was murdered in that same area, and that girl was from India also. That same area, and girl was murdered. So it can be scary. If you're at the wrong place at the wrong time, it's scary. So you have to have faith in God. You have to have faith that, because at some point, in your life, you come to some point where you can't do anything. The only thing you can do is pray. But if you pray with full faith, God reciprocates. If your prayer is half-hearted, maybe I don't know how that works, but that point I was like, and I've heard stories like this about Nursing Dev. I have really heard stories. One story quickly I'll say. This is when Taj hotel was attacked by terrorists in Bombay, right? And this was a bhakta. It was a devotee, and he was in that army commando was called to fight the terrorists. So this army commando guy was a devotee. He used to chant and all that. So he came down in the helicopter and he entered Taj Hotel with the Sten gun and all that. And the terrorists were firing bullets left and right. There were two other people with him. Within no time they got shot. So he was alone now. He was alone and he had this gun, and bullets were coming all over around him. So at that time he said, I can die any moment now. And he prayed to Narsimha Bhagwan. At that time, in his heart, he prayed to Narsimha Bhagwan, I'm just praying to you. I don't know if I'll be alive, but if you can, please help me. And then I think a big explosion happened or something. They threw a bomb or something. And when this person opened his eyes, there was a pillar in front of him. Whatever that was going to hit him, the pillar saved him. And Narsimha Bhagwan came out of the pillar, right? So this person got saved by the pillar, and then he thought of Narsimha Bhagwan. So faith in God. So this is a practical lesson from so far, verse number 20. You have faith in God, God will reciprocate 100%. And that's a personal experience. Now verse 21 to 27, we see a very tender side of Krishna. Krishna loves his devotees, and we see that side of Krishna. So Arjuna says now, the war has begun, the conch shells are blown, Arjuna has to now do the action. So Arjuna says, just before that, he says, Senayor Ubhayor Madhye Ratham Stapaya Mechyuta यावदेतान् निरीक्षेऽहं योद्धुकामानवस्थितान् कैर्मया सह योद्धव्यम् अस्मिन् रणसमुद्यमे. Arjuna said, O infallible one, Achyuta. Here Krishna is called Achyuta. Achyuta means the one who never fails. What does Krishna never fail? Krishna never fails to reciprocate to the devotee. To So, O infallible one, please draw my chariot between the true armies so that I may see those present here who desire to fight and with whom I must contend in this great trial of arms. So Arjuna says, O Achyuta, please put my chariot in middle of both armies. Now, other thing, you should know, Krishna is the charioteer. Okay. Now, how this chariot is, you must have seen in serials and all. The archer is standing. Archer is standing with bow and arrow. Both his hands are engaged. Okay. And the charioteer is sitting down there below. Now, in the war, there's so much of sound there. A lot of sound. It's deafening sound. You can't hear anything. So, if you are in a chariot or if you are in a car and you want to tell the driver, go left, go right, you can tell, right? But in the war, so much sound is there, nobody can hear anything. So the way they used to do is that the warrior used to kick with his legs. If he wants to go left, he'll kick the left shoulder. If he wants to go right, he'll kick the right shoulder with his legs. Because his hand is, he's fighting. He can't put that down because if he puts that down, somebody will shoot him. He should be always ready to fight. But he still has to make the chariot go whichever way he wants. So the only way he does it with the legs kicking. Imagine Krishna being the, Akhanda Brahmanda Nayak. He is the owner of the complete Brahmand and he's sitting there getting kicks by a human, Arjuna. Such is the love of Krishna. He loves to be a servant of his devotees. Krishna loves it. He doesn't like to be master and order, do this, do that. He doesn't like that. He likes it when he gets ordered. Krishna, take my chariot in the middle of both the armies. Arjuna didn't say, please, take it. He ordered Krishna and he loves it. That is the Krishna's Bhakta Vatsala. Let me see those who've come here to fight, wishing to please the evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra. Yotsamanan aviksheham ya etetra samagata dhartarashtrasya durbudhe yuddhe priya chikirshava. Now, 21 to 23 verses, the meaning of Achyuta, I said infallible. The Lord never fails in the affection for his devotees and thus engage in the service of his friend out of his costless mercy. He did not hesitate to carry out the order of Arjuna as his charioteer. Still, his supreme position as Rishikesha is not challenged. God is God. Krishna is the supreme God. But even if he's sitting as a driver getting kicks, he's still the supreme Lord. That's his greatness. And the relationship between the Lord and the devotee is very sweet and transcendental. Nothing like it. You know, um, uh, the Lord loves, as I said, getting orders from his. Lord loves to serve his devotees, and the devotees love to serve Lord. The devotee, the true devotee, loves to serve the Lord, and the Lord likes to serve the devotee. So that is their mutual transcendental love. Why did Arjuna ask the chariot to be moved in the middle of both the armies? Because he wanted to see, was anxious to see who are going to be fighting with. Because it's not just Duryodhana and the family. A lot of kings had decided which side they want to be. The whole world was involved. Some kings decided to be on the side of Duryodhana. So then Arjuna will know, okay, this person, Prabhupada has written in the purport, birds of the same feather flock together. So whoever went to Duryodhana's side must be also like Duryodhana, evil-minded. And also he wanted to see the strength of that side. Arjuna did not want to make peace at this point, but he just wanted to see. Now Sanjay says, who descended of Bharata? Who is that? Dhritarashtra. Sanjay is calling Dhritarashtra because that's from the same family, Bharata. Having been thus addressed by Arjuna, Lord Krishna drew up the fine chariot in the midst of both the armies. Sanjay Uvacha Evamukto Rishikesho Gudakeşena Bharata Senayor Ubhayor Madhye Stapayitva Rathottamam Uttama Ratha Rathottamam, the chariot, splendid chariot. Arjuna is called by another name. What is that? There are two names here. I've highlighted it. One is Rishikesh and one is Gudakesh. So who is Rishikesh? Krishna. So Gudakesh is Arjuna. Gudakesh means, in Sanskrit, the one who has conquered sleep. Arjuna doesn't have to sleep. He had done so much of training on himself, he doesn't have to sleep. He can do without sleep. In fact, there is a story when, when they were in Dronacharya's Gurukul, at night everybody sleeping, but Arjuna would get up and practice archery. So much he was, determined to be an archer. So Arjuna did not have to sleep. He had conquered sleep. Sleep also means ignorance. Sleep also means ignorance, which means Arjuna also conquered ignorance. Why? Because he chose Krishna as his friend. So he was not ignorant, he was wise. So Arjuna is Gudakesha, as I said, sleep and ignorance. The nature of a devotee is that devotee can never forget Krishna even for a moment. So that's Krishna consciousness. Krishna is called Rishikesha because he is the master of the senses. So Krishna, being Rishikesha, he could sense Arjuna's hesitation that was building up. Arjuna just said, take my chariot in the middle. But Krishna knew something is coming now. He's getting a cold feet. Practical application. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the intimate friend of his devotees. You don't have to tell anything to Krishna. When you go to temple, you don't have to tell anything. Just stand there, he knows everything. He's inside. Verse number 25. Bhishma Drona Pramukhata Sarvesham Cha Mahikshitam Uvacha Partha Pashyetan Samavetan Kuruniti. Now it's interesting, Kurukshetra is very huge ground and there are millions of people there. Alright, what did Arjuna say? Hey Keshav, just take my chariot in the middle of both the armies. And where did Krishna take the chariot? He took the chariot right in front of Bhishma and Drona. He could have taken it anywhere. He could have taken it in front of Duryodhana or anybody, Dushasana. He took it in front of Drona and Bhishma. Krishna is very clever. Because he knows Arjun's feelings for these people, right? So, and again, the word Partha I have highlighted. Krishna is calling now, he's calling Arjuna Partha. Why? Because Arjun is Krishna's auntie's son. Krishna's father's sister's name is Pritha. Kunti Maharani before marriage was called Pritha. Therefore Arjun is called Partha. Pritha's son Partha. So Krishna, Acharyas tell us, we don't know, we are not so intelligent, but Acharyas tell us that Krishna called Arjun Partha deliberately because Krishna is saying, hey look, I'm your charioteer because you are my cousin. You are my aunt Pritha's son. Therefore I'm here, don't embarrass me now. Okay? Just be a good warrior. Now don't think of running away and anything. That will be embarrassing to me because you're my cousin. Hey Parth. Second thing, Krishna says, look at all the Kurus assembled here. He doesn't have to say that. He was asked to take the chariot in the middle of the army. He just has to do that. He's a driver, right? He doesn't have to say, but he says, Krishna says, hey Parth, look at all the Kurus here. Why did he say that? Again, he's pushing the buttons. He knows that Arjun is also Kuru. Arjun is also Kuru Vamshi. He's from the same Kuru dynasty. Because the Dhritarashtra didn't like them to be called Kauravas, he put them as Pandavas. But he's actually is the same family, Kuru. So Krishna deliberately, in order to push the emotional buttons of Arjuna, he says, look at the Kurus here. So that's a deliberate move on part of Krishna. Lord Krishna is Rishikesh, and he knows the Arjuna's mind, and he knows everybody's mind because he's a super soul. Arjuna is referred as Partha again because Queen Kunti's son. And as if he's reading Arjuna's mind, he said, do you want to stop and not fight? Krishna did not expect such a cowardly action from the son of his aunt, and he's in a friendly, joking way, he's making that statement. Verse number 26. Tatra pashyat stitan partha pitrin atha pitamahan acharyan matulan bhratrin putran pautran sakhims tata shwashuran suhurdaschaiva senayor bhayorapi. There Arjuna could see within the midst of the armies both the parties, his fathers, his grandfathers, his teachers, his maternal uncles, brothers, sons, grandsons, friends, and also his father-in-law and well-wishers. So Arjuna could see the entire family there. His teachers, Kripacharya, Dronacharya, his great grandfather, Bhishma, his maternal uncle, and brothers, meaning Duryodhana and Party, they were all cousin brothers. And so, 27. Tan samikshya kaunteya sarvan bandhun avastitan kripaya paraya vishto vishidan nidam abravit. When the son of Kunti, Arjuna, saw all these different grades of friends and relatives, he became overwhelmed with compassion and spoke thus. Now till 27, as we said, till 27 it's Krishna as Bhakta Vatsala. Verse number 28 till 46, also second chapter, the first 10 verses, you will find Arjuna's monologue. Arjuna is talking and talking and talking. Why he doesn't want to fight. So here, when Arjuna saw all these people, he got overwhelmed with compassion. So Prabhupada says in the purport that a Vaishnava, a devotee, is very soft-hearted. A true Vaishnava is very soft-hearted because you see Lord in everybody. Arjuna was a pure devotee. And when he saw the army, he felt sorry for them. He didn't feel just sorry for his army. He didn't want to kill them also. He was soft-hearted. So it's not that Arjuna was a coward. He had fought many wars. He had fought many wars, but this particular time, and also, I told this before also, Arjuna is the eternal friend of Krishna. Arjuna is eternal friend of Krishna. There's never a time when he, it's a eternal relationship. So Arjuna can never be overwhelmed. Arjuna cannot have a nervous breakdown because he is Krishna's eternal associate. So what happened here is that Krishna cast a spell. He put Arjuna in that bewildered mind. Why? Why did Krishna put that Arjuna into that, bewilderment? Arjuna is not like us. No, we can feel like, oh, how can I kill these people? But Arjuna is not like that. He's eternal friend of Krishna. But Krishna put Arjuna into that emotional state of mind. Why? Because Gita can happen. That's why if Arjuna was not like that, he'll just kill everybody. War is over in one day.
Then he will ask questions.
Exactly. Arjuna was put into that position, Arey, how can I fight? And you're feeling compassion and all that. Why? Because then Arjuna will ask questions and then Lord will tell Gita. And then we can benefit. That is why. So Arjuna sees all the relatives on both sides and he is overwhelmed with compassion. And different grades of relatives are mentioned: grandfather, Bhishma and Somadatta, fathers contemporaries like Bhurishrava, teachers like Dronacharya, Kripacharya, maternal uncles like Shalva. Shalva was Queen Madri's brother, right? Um, King Pandu had two wives. One was Queen Kunti and one was Queen Madri. Queen Madri is from south, and I think Madri should be Madras maybe from that. I am guessing they're from south. So Queen Madri died as a sati. Nakul and Sahadeva are Queen Madri's children, and Shalva is Madri's brother. So for Arjun, that's like an uncle, right? Mother's brother. Not Kunti Maharani's, but Madri is also mother for Arjun. So Madri's brother is like uncle. But Shalva, why was he in Duryodhan's side? That's a different story. He was cheated. You can Google that later on. He was cheated by Duryodhana and he had to be in Duryodhana's side to fight. Anyway, so Arjuna saw all these people and he got really overwhelmed. Friends like Ashwatthama. Ashwatthama was in the same Gurukul with Arjuna and now he's on the opposite side. He has to fight. Well-wishers like Kritvarma. Army containing many friends. And Arjuna, no, he cannot fight. So Arjuna, at this point, so far what's happened? The war began, the conch shells are blown, everybody is ready. Arjuna is pulled, is really ready to fight. At that last moment, he had a little, wish, let me see all the armies. So Krishna draws a chariot in the middle, and when Arjuna sees everybody, he's like, oh no, how can I fight these people? They're my own family. So Arjuna is feeling compassionate and overwhelmed with emotion. So in the next session, we will see what all Arjuna says, why he cannot fight. He gives 5 reasons why he doesn't want to fight. And he puts down his bow and arrow. So no, not fighting. And so that will be the next. So that'll finish the first chapter. And then we'll begin the second chapter also, 10 verses. So what are the two practical lessons that we can learn from so far?
And when God is with you, you don't fear anything.
Excellent. That's a very important lesson you should remember till the end of your life. Really, that's a very important lesson. When you have trust in God, when you have faith in God, it should not be shaken. Nothing can shake you. That's one lesson. And what's the other lesson?
He's like intimate servant to his devotees.
Right, excellent. See, this bhakti is very, very deep subject and it's a very secret subject. It's nothing like, jnana and, karma yoga, that's all different. But bhakti yoga, believe me, it's a very, very secret path. It is not what you think it is. The more you develop a bond with God, the more you connect with Krishna, Krishna reciprocates. He does things in totally unimaginable way. And it doesn't happen overnight. It happens slowly but steadily, it happens. you feel it in your life, things happening. If you have that 100% trust in Krishna, Krishna reciprocates. And that those are two lessons. One is have faith in God. Number two, if you connect with God, God reciprocates. So with that, let's end this today's session, right? All right. Any questions so far? Okay. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Bhagavad Gita ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Jai Gurudev. Thank you.